After marrying her billionaire dad, she exposed a hidden truth about her best friend RESUL. The marble-floored ballroom shimmered as Sarah Matthews squeezed her eyes shut, struggling against the rising tide of anxiety threatening to wash over her. She set her champagne glass down, its crystalline surface catching the daunting glow of the chandeliers above. Tonight was a charity gala, a masked confusion of laughter and psychotic ambition that felt foreign in her gut. Among the sea of elegantly clad figures, she spotted Jessica, her glamorous best friend, captivating the crowd with effortless charm. Overshadowed again, Sarah thought bitterly. The thought was familiar, a dull ache she had learned to live with, but now it carried a new weight. Her father's recent marriage had thrust Sarah into this dizzying hierarchy, a world defined by wealth, popularity, and those relentless expectations that prickled at her sense of self. Suddenly, a memory clawed at her, the hours spent buried in books, the sacrifices made for academic accolades that now felt trivial in this realm of opulence. Until recently, her life revolved around rigorous lectures and scholarly debates. But here she was, groping through the intricate facade of privilege, filled with an unshakable sense of unworthiness. She glanced at Jessica again, a whirlwind of confidence and superficiality, and felt the familiar swell of frustration rise. Was this the reward for her years of hard work? She was drowning in a society that valued connections over commitment, flash over foundation. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The laughter around her felt brittle, a veneer barely masking the underlying insecurities. Jessica approached with a bright smile, but in that moment, Sarah felt a storm brewing beneath the surface. The revelation of a hidden truth, a secret that could unravel everything, loomed over her like a guillotine. Should she expose Jessica's deception to protect her family's legacy? The thought sent a chill down her spine. What if she shattered the fragile illusion of their friendship, tarnishing what little bond they had left while trying to justify her own value? A swirl of emotions crashed over her. The anguish of betrayal, the desperation to maintain control, an underlying fear of losing Jessica, her anchor in this superficial world, raged within. As the night wore on, tension grew heavier. Sarah's heart raced, fingers gripping the chilled glass, knuckles white. There was no clear choice, only the temptation to hide behind loyalty, while the allure of truth gnawed at her insides. As the laughter rejoiced louder and the ambience brightened, Sarah felt a tremor within. Where was the authenticity in friendships surrounded by wealth? Fragments of doubt flooded her consciousness. The final moment before the catastrophe loomed, and the thin veneer of camaraderie between her and Jessica cracked as they stood engulfed by the thrum of society's expectations. How could she remain silent about the truth that could console her conscience at the cost of everything she held dear? Just then, as the tension reached its peak, the lights flickered and went out, instantly engulfing the gala in darkness. The crowd's roars transformed into gasps and murmurs, and Sarah stood frozen in the absence of light, her breath catching in her throat, face awash in shadows. What would she choose when the world around her was turned upside down? In that suffocating darkness, secrets hovered, and choices awaited like predators poised to pounce, forcing Sarah to confront herself amid the chaos. The darkness enveloped Sarah, amplifying the cacophony of whispers that erupted among the guests. She took a shaky breath, allowing the chill of the air to pierce her internal turmoil. The ballet of anxiety and indifference pressed against her, uncertainty mingled with the palpable tension of the moment. She had always been the observer, content in the sidelines, yet here she felt vulnerable, as if each gasping breath might betray the thoughts swirling within. What if I let the truth slip? The thought slithered through her mind, fueling both fear and resolve. Yet, did that truth really belong to her? As she navigated the abyss of uncertainty, she realized she was standing at a precipice, not just in her friendship with Jessica, but in her identity. The weight of her father's recent marriage and the expectations that accompanied it blurred her own ambitions, forcing her to grapple with who she wanted to become amid the elite. A sudden pinprick of light sliced through the darkness, an emergency exit sign flickered on, illuminating faces enmeshed in confusion. In that brief instance, Sarah noticed Jessica, her eyes wide with apprehension, reaching for her in the sea of void. The stark contrast between their emotions, the unyielding poise of her friend pushing through the chaos and Sarah's vulnerable uncertainty, hit her hard. Was she destined to follow Jessica's lead, forever a shadow in the limelight? Panic clawed at her insides. The memory of her painstaking achievements nagged at her conscience. Years spent as a diligent student, meticulously competing to be the best version of herself, all for what? This society of glitz. The imbalance of admiration for those who thrived in charm over substance. She felt lost, a wave sweeping her away from the shore of her own identity. As the emergency lights flickered more intensely, illuminating a path ahead, Sarah took a tentative step forward. The surge of change coursed through her veins. Perhaps now was the moment to claim her voice. Maybe this blackout wasn't merely a meaningless disruption, perhaps it was her call to action. If she could muster the courage to unravel Jessica's deceit, could she also, in a single moment of clarity, reclaim her own narrative? Her thoughts raced. The opportunity to voice the truth started to form in the corners of her mind, mingling with mounting fear. What if the truth meant losing her only friend? Could she bear the hollow echo of betrayal? How could she reconcile her desires for honesty and the safety of companionship at a time like this? In the distance, a voice broke her reverie, a firm intonation that demanded attention. "Everyone, please remain calm. We're working on restoring the lights," a figure called out, echoing reassurance amidst disarray. But personal illumination felt crucial. She needed to break free from the confines of this facade. The clarity she sought didn't come in the form of answers, rather, it emerged as resolve. Grit enveloped her, steeling her against the uncertainty. This darkness didn't diminish her capability, instead, it mirrored her conflicted heart. Perhaps confronting Jessica and the truth could spark a light not just for her, but also for a friendship trapped in the cobwebs of pretension. As whispers of fear filled the space around her, Sarah glanced back at Jessica. In this chaos, a connection bound by years of loyalty transformed into a choice laid bare. The moment had arrived. The lights flickered ominously back to life, each bulb igniting sparks of hope against the oppressive shadow. Would she expose the truth lurking between them, or would she allow fear to dictate her silence? The answer lay within, a momentous decision hanging in the balance, ready to shape her life in unforeseen ways. What came next would determine who Sarah Matthews truly was. Her greatest test yet awaited. The lights burst forth, illuminating the faces around Sarah, each expression laced with confusion or curiosity. Her heart raced, mirroring the chaotic hum of the crowd she had once felt detached from. Now, an unseen force tethered her to the moment, a sharp awareness that she stood at a crossroads shaping both her identity and her future. Jessica had instinctively stepped towards Sarah, her face a blend of concern and expectation. It struck Sarah then, the irony of her friend's position, a seamless blend of confidence that flickered like a mirage. As if reading her mind, Jessica reached out. "Are you okay?" The question pierced through Sarah's tangled thoughts, but she found herself unable to respond. Her voice felt fleeting, fragmented amidst the disarray. Instead of answering, Sarah took a steadying breath, redirecting her focus inward. What is okay to her? Was it maintaining the status quo, championing the glamorous facade, or standing defiantly in the truth's glare? Just moments ago, her reflections had been drowned by anxiety, yet as the lights blazed defiantly overhead, clarity surged through her. She was ready to ascend from the depths of passive observation and begin to confront the entangled web of friendships built on inauthenticity. Glimpses of her ambition washed over her as she recalled different chapters of her life, state debates where she had triumphed with eloquence, late nights hacking through complex calculus problems, and finally, the recent venture into journalism that sparked her passions anew. Each experience echoed her confrontation with the dichotomy she faced between family obligations and her desire to pursue the truth with passion. The realization that these moments were hers alone crystallized inside her. They had armed her with a sense of purpose and capability that had remained dormant for so long. "Jessica," Sarah began, her voice firm, slightly trembling but steadfast. She could feel the gravity of her words, weighted with the enormity of her decision. "We need to talk about everything, the rumors, the lies there." Amidst the fabric of desperation and bravery, she caught Jessica's eyes widening, a mirror reflecting her own fears, yet also a flicker of hope. "I know you've been struggling," Jessica interjected, her tone shifting almost defensively. "Let's just handle this together. We can figure something out." An edge of resentment prickled within Sarah. But why should we keep pretending? What are we truly protecting? Vulnerability had twisted into a fierce urgency. The delicate balance between their friendship and her integrity hung precariously in the air, the weight of their shared history feeling more like shackles than a foundation. As fear and realization converged, Sarah realized that facing Jessica was not solely about unearthing the deception. It was about self-assertion, about seizing control of her narrative even if it came at a cost. Her worth could no longer be entangled in someone else's story. She needed to propel herself forward, separate yet connected to Jessica, echoing all the years of shared dreams and fears. The air thickened with tension, words unsaid fluttering like leaves caught in a storm. Around them, the crowd began to murmur, but for Sarah, the world had receded into the periphery. Daring to uphold her truth sparked a new fire in her. That drive coursing through her was not just about suppressing the lingering affections for the past, it was about the emergence of a new self. "Let us not pretend anymore," Sarah continued, this time igniting with confidence. Each syllable shaped her reality as she carved a path that echoed through her convictions. There was no turning back now. She gave life to her determination, reconstructed the fragile foundation of their friendship in her stubborn aura, and dared Jessica to respond. "Maybe we find the truth together." Jessica hesitated, her voice faltering, showcasing the cracks between them widening by the moment. And in that uncertainty, Sarah felt an unmistakable truth rise within. This was only the beginning of a deeper confrontation, a revelation not just between her and Jessica, but perhaps with herself as well. She would have to navigate the intricacies of friendship, loyalty, and ambition, always questioning if the cost of honesty could lead to liberation or further entrapment. "Are you ready?" Sarah challenged, igniting a spark in her own voice that lingered in the air, demanding an answer, not just from Jessica, but from the core of who she was becoming. The new chapter loomed ahead, charged and waiting to unfold, and she could feel the pulse of change in her veins. What lay ahead was uncertain, but Sarah Matthews understood that it was time to not only expose hidden truths but to discover her own. The moment hung like a suspended breath, taut and filled with possibilities. Jessica's brow furrowed, her hesitation palpable, and for Sarah, time stretched endlessly as the weight of unspoken truths teetered on the brink of revelation. The sheer enormity of their shared history felt like a tumultuous sea beneath them, each wave crashing against the fragile structure of their friendship. If she had ever doubted her resolve, it melted away in that anxious space. Sarah could almost visualize the walls she had built around herself, reinforced by fear and the need for acceptance. In confronting Jessica, she wasn't just dismantling those walls, she was reclaiming her voice. "Why are we afraid?" she pressed, emotions swirling like a tempest within her. "What are we gaining by hiding?" Jessica's eyes darted around as if searching for an escape, but Sarah was no longer willing to be an afterthought in someone else's story. Her heart pounded fiercely in her chest. This was not merely a conversation, it was an awakening. With trembling hands, she wrestled with the desire to break free from her own insecurities, to snap the silence that had bound them together for so long. "I thought we were stronger than this," Jessica finally murmured, her voice quieter, perhaps even vulnerable. But was it a hint of guilt creeping in, or mere reflection of her own fears? Sarah had never wanted to cast blame, she only yearned for authenticity. The uncertainty of Jessica's response hung in the air like an unlit candle, waiting for the spark of truth to ignite it. Stronger? Or just more scared? Sarah's words cut sharply through the lingering tension. She could feel the heat rising around them, reactionary but real, and in that moment, she knew she was ready to embrace whatever came next. If they had built their connection on half-truths and illusions, it was time to face the shadows lurking beneath. If we don't face this now, how can we ever move forward? Jessica flinched, but what lay beneath was an ethos of survival. Was it her nature to sidestep confrontation, or was it a response to the fragile dynamics of their friendship? Sarah could not pretend to know. She felt the distance between them, felt it in the space that had once felt secure, now pulsing with uncertainty. Behind her anger, she recognized the fear entwined with loyalty. "I just wanted to protect us," Jessica's voice cracked slightly as new colors of remorse seeped into her expression. "I didn't want to lose you, too. Who else would be by my side?" In that revelation, Sarah caught a flicker of insight no longer locked away from her. She saw the girl who once shared late-night secrets and dreams of grandeur, but now clung to a fabricated narrative. Tears welled in Jessica's eyes, and suddenly the chaotic storm around them felt more personal. It stirred something deeper within Sarah, a longing to bridge the gap, to weave honesty back into the filaments of their bond. But are we really together if we're standing in the dark? Sarah leaned closer, her voice a whisper laced with urgency. Are we not just two shadows masquerading as friends? That question resonated deeply. In those few words, she unearthed an unsettling truth: remaining in darkness meant denying their true selves. Understanding her own complex layers required a willingness to explore Jessica's motives and fears. Each step forward may be met with resistance, but Sarah felt emboldened. She had been hidden away for far too long. As Jessica took a breath, a moment of clarity seemed to envelop them. The crowd around them faded, becoming nothing but a background murmur. What did it mean to be truly seen, to shed the protective layers they both wore? "Sarah, I didn't realize how lost I've felt. We've adapted to wearing masks," Jessica admitted, her voice steadying, each word a new brick laid in their foundation of developing strength. It was a breakthrough, the creak of an old door swinging open, revealing the weighty reality that lay within. "Then let us peel back the layers. For both of us," Sarah urged, her own heartbeat echoing in the silence. That followed. The moment felt monumental, charged with a dual awakening. "Together?" Jessica asked, vulnerability etching each syllable. "Together," Sarah confirmed. In that shared agreement, a promise stitched a new pathway forward, one of genuine friendship, honesty, and the courage to face the hidden truths of their past. This hopeful tether, this newfound strength, illuminated not just possibilities but sparked a solitary realization in Sarah: the true journey of self-exploration had only just begun. As if two artists ready to begin a masterpiece, she wondered what colors their artwork would reveal. Yet, even as their convictions intertwined, a nagging question lingered: were they ready to confront the truths beyond their circle? The sensibilities of deep-rooted friendships could prove to be even more tumultuous than anything they had faced. What awaited them, and how would they navigate the labyrinth of their choices and discoveries? The answers danced just beyond reach, teetering on the brink of revelation. The air thickened with uncharted territory, vibrating with the energy of unrefined truths. As Jessica's words settled around them, Sarah felt the beginnings of a plan forming, nestled against the warm embers of resolve that now ignited her spirit. Jessica's admission had opened a doorway, one that led into the deep recesses of their vulnerabilities, a place Sarah was determined to explore despite the dark and dank shadows that lurked. "Let us promise to be honest from now on," she suggested, her voice steady but laced with anticipation. "Okay," Jessica replied, hesitation briefly flickering in her eyes. "But what if honesty pushes us apart instead of bringing us together?" That question rattled in Sarah's mind. It hung there, weighted and precarious, igniting doubts she thought she'd overcome. The truth had the potential to shatter, as much as it did to heal. But the prospect of remaining entangled in the web of their existing deceit felt far more suffocating. "We won't know unless we try," Sarah encouraged. Each word was a reminder to herself, a mantra to ward off the fear that threatened to claw its way back in. This was about growth, she reminded herself. A plan blossomed in her consciousness, glimmering with the possibility of liberation. But first, she had to address the scars of their past. I think we should start with the parts of our story we've kept hidden from each other, she proposed. Jessica stiffened, and in that moment, Sarah sensed the fragility of their newfound footing. Would Jessica cling to the masks they had both donned for so long? A part of her feared rejection, the kind that had held her in chains for years. But the flicker of courage ignited by their earlier conversation felt insatiable. She pressed on, coaxing honesty with quiet determination. Let us embrace our truths, she continued, watching Jessica's expression ebb and flow with conflict. I want to start sharing everything I've kept buried. Everything? Jessica echoed, her brows knitting together. What if it's too much to bear? I think we've already proven we can face the hard stuff, Sarah said, her heart racing. And if we can't meet this challenge together, then what are we really building? The words hung in the air again, undulating between uncertainty and hope. Jessica's eyes searched Sarah's face for reassurance, but it was grounded in genuine intention. That desire to grow, rather than retreat, fueled Sarah's resolve. Okay, Jessica finally answered, voice faltering. But you first, she added, a growing smile of encouragement breaking through her hesitance. Taking a deep breath, Sarah summoned memories she had tucked away like old photographs, moments of her life that felt too personal, fraught with pain, regret, and the weight of expectations. I guess I've always felt like I had to play the perfect daughter, the perfect friend, she began, each confession a brick she was ready to dismantle. But deep down, I've been terrified of never being enough. Jessica's expression shifted as she absorbed Sarah's vulnerability that previously felt foreign and strained. It was cathartic. Sarah began to feel the walls around her heart loosening. There was power in this act of sharing. It was challenging the fear that had perpetuated her silence. I wanted to be someone strong who could shoulder all expectations, but I didn't realize I was losing sight of my own wishes along the way. As the story poured out, there was a surge of connection and exchange that felt invaluable. A cascade of relief washed over Sarah, a feeling akin to shedding unwanted layers of a heavy coat. I realize I've also held layers of fear, Jessica admitted, threading her fingers together nervously. My fear of being left behind made me want to keep things perfect, too. I didn't want to lose our friendship. The acknowledgement hung heavily, the weight no longer a burden but a shared understanding. Suddenly, Sarah knew that honesty would nurture both their growth. With each revelation, they were confronting the past and illuminating not just hidden fears but also unrealized potential. It was exhilarating, yet Sarah felt a sense of foreboding creeping in as they delved deeper into their shared truths. As their stories entwined, she recognized an unsettling prospect: how many more layers remained. How would they both navigate the complexities of the emotions that would surely arise? The maze of their histories was thickening, and the door to deeper revelations had creaked open. Sarah, Jessica murmured, pulling back slightly, we may unearth more than we bargained for. Are we truly ready for this? The question echoed ominously, but before Sarah could articulate an answer, the compelling urge to forge ahead blossomed within her yet again. She grasped Jessica's hands, feeling the warmth that encapsulated their connection as a grounding force. Ready or not, we'll face it together, she declared resolutely. A promise now hung between them, but the impending ramifications loomed larger than both had anticipated. What else lay buried? The path to true friendship was evidently paved with scars yet to be revealed. And as they sat there, plotting the contours of their radical honesty, another mystery emerged on the precipice of their newfound clarity. What other truths awaited in the shadows of their existence? Would their bond withstand the sharp edges of revelation? The atmosphere around them felt charged with potential, as if the universe was aligning to listen. Each thought echoed loudly in Sarah's mind. The ripple effects of their honesty were tangible, thrumming like a heartbeat shared between them. The path forward was uncertain, and yet, that uncertainty exhilarated her. Tell me about the most difficult choice you've ever made, Sarah prompted, her voice low but filled with purpose. She was eager to dig deeper, her desire for authenticity pushing away the remnants of fear. Jessica hesitated, her gaze drifting to the ground as though the earth might provide an answer. I think it was deciding to put my dreams on hold, she finally admitted, a tremor in her voice. I was so focused on being the supportive friend, the reliable employee. I let those roles define me, and in doing so, I lost sight of what I truly wanted. A pang of recognition flickered through Sarah. That mirrored her own struggles, the weight of others' expectations pressing down like lead. What did you want? She asked gently. I've always wanted to pursue a career in art, Jessica confessed, her cheeks flushing slightly. But I convinced myself that it was impractical. That it would never pay the bills. So I took the safe route, working in finance. A frown creased Sarah's brow. You can always return to it, you know. Nothing is wasted, she offered, hoping to dispel the shadows creeping into Jessica's eyes. You have a talent. Don't let it wither, just because others don't see its worth. That's easy for you to say. Jessica's voice danced with bitterness, but the intensity of the moment sharpened her focus. You thrive on showcasing your abilities. You command a room. You own the attention. The admission struck Sarah like a lightning bolt. Did Jessica truly perceive her that way? I don't own anything, Jess. I'm just as afraid as you are, I just hide it better, she countered, the words tumbling from her lips before she could rein them in. But maybe that's our challenge, then, to embrace who we are beneath the layers of fear and expectation. The glint of understanding flickered in Jessica's eyes, stirring an unspoken promise. They were both teetering on the edge of something monumental, self-discovery, acknowledgement, even unshackling their true passions. But the lingering question remained, how would their individual truths mesh into one cohesive story? Tell me one thing you love about yourself, Sarah ventured, wanting to shift the focus from the painful realities they had just explored. Jessica pondered, the furrow in her brow easing slightly. I love my ability to connect with others, she replied. I've always had this instinct to understand people's emotions, to offer support when they need it. The response echoed in Sarah's ears, stirring something profound. You have a gift for empathy, Jess. That's powerful, she said, feeling her own heart swell with gratitude for having such a friend. In that moment, she realized empathy could also be a double-edged sword, so often used to shield others, yet could it also become a means to shield oneself? Jessica smiled, the tension easing from her shoulders. And what about you? What do you love about yourself? Sarah hesitated, her internal struggle refocusing her thoughts. I love my ability to adapt. I can turn chaos into order, reel people in, make them feel comfortable. The truth felt liberating, but alongside it came the suffocating fear of losing that adaptability, of being exposed as vulnerable in a world that valued resilience. I think we're unearthing some instrumental truths, just like you said, Jessica remarked, her eyes brightening. It's invigorating. It was invigorating, but also daunting, and Sarah felt the weight of the conversation looming at the brink of something deeper yet to be uncovered. What if the things we reveal hurt us in ways we can't anticipate? Sarah questioned, looking directly into Jessica's eyes, gauging her resolve. Then we'll face those too, Jessica replied with newfound confidence, squeezing Sarah's hand. Together. A sudden realization hit Sarah like an unexpected wave, threatening to drown her in its immensity. Truth was sour and sweet, a combat of self-discovery filled with potential risks of exposed wounds. Was this the turning point she had been searching for, a dive into their shared faults and fears? I'm challenged to think, Jess, Sarah said slowly, reflective. Are we not just unraveling layers, but making space for something new? This fear of our truths, it's just the beginning, isn't it? The acknowledgement hung like a thick veil, and as they exchanged knowing glances, the shadows of uncertainty and possibility intermingled around them. In that silence, however, an undercurrent shifted, a secret buried more deeply than either had anticipated loomed, waiting to be unearthed. What truths had they not yet broached, and how would the confrontation with those deeper layers redefine their bond? Sarah felt the invisible thread of their connection tighten, already anticipating the weight of whatever would arise next. "Then let us keep going," Sarah declared, invigorated. "Let us peel back as many layers as it takes until we discover what lies beneath the surface. We have to, for ourselves." The energy between them pulsated with promise, a shared commitment to seek the depths together. But as they delved deeper into uncharted territory, one nagging thought resurfaced in Sarah's mind: if they uncovered buried secrets that threatened to fracture them, would their courage still hold? And as the shadows of their past beckoned, it became clear, the RESUL journey was just beginning, and soon, they would face a truth that might test the very foundation of their friendship. The weight of the moment crushed Sarah's chest, but an unexpected spark of determination ignited within her. They had set their path, now it was time to confront it full force. Each layer shed would demand bravery and perhaps, an unsettling vulnerability that would reveal far more than simple truths. "Let's talk about our fears," Sarah suggested, her voice steady despite the tremor of anticipation in her heart. She pointedly felt that acknowledging their fears would prevent them from becoming obstacles in future discussions. "What is your biggest fear that holds you back?" Jessica inhaled sharply, a flicker of doubt crossing her features. "I think it's failure. It's not just the act of failing itself, but the idea of disappointing those I care about. I fear that if I pursue my art and it doesn't succeed, I'll let everyone down: my family, my friends, myself." The honesty rolled off Jessica's tongue, raw and unfiltered. A knot tightened in Sarah's stomach. She could empathize, but she also sensed an opportunity nestled in Jessica's fear. "What if you transform that fear into a motivator?" she proposed, eagerness lighting up her voice. "What if you see failure not as the end but as just part of the journey? When I started volunteering to lead projects at work, I had no idea what I was doing. But I learned sometimes through failure ways to improve." Jessica's eyes widened, a flicker of intrigue stirring within. "How do you keep going despite that fear? What drives you?" "Honestly, it's the desire to learn. If I stop challenging myself and stay stagnant, I feel like I'm suffocating. It's exhilarating to think about how each attempt brings me closer to understanding myself and my capabilities." Facing that darkness of failure is daunting but ultimately liberating, Sarah explained, her conviction ringing true in her own ears. In that moment, their fears seemed to swirl around them, hexed with both danger and possibility. What new understanding would emerge from this reckoning? Jessica leaned back, processing Sarah's words through a prism of her own experiences. "Maybe that's the missing piece," Jessica mused, her brow furrowed in contemplation. "If I give myself permission to fail, maybe I could reclaim my passion for art without the pressure of perfection." Sarah felt a wave of relief wash over her. Vulnerability was not a chasm, it was a bridge. They were each discovering strength in the very fears that threatened to set them adrift. "Let us make a pact," Sarah proposed, her tone earnest. "We can hold each other accountable for exploring our passions fearlessly: the art, the adaptability, everything. Let us create platforms where failure isn't just acceptable but expected. The process is valuable, and celebrating that process could help us both." Jessica's smile softened the intensity of the moment, an inkling of joy breaking through the clouds of anxiety. "I love that. And who knows? We might just stumble upon something remarkable along the way." A wave of exhilaration buoyed Sarah's heart. They were no longer shackled by their uncertainties. This conversation had ignited a commitment to foster authenticity. But deep beneath the surface, unacknowledged concerns stirred silently once more. What if we can't? What if I don't have the discipline after all? What if it never gets easier? Jessica's voice was barely a whisper, but the question echoed loudly in Sarah's mind. Those fears loomed ominously. What would happen if commitment faltered, or if both of them faced temptations to revert to their old safety nets? As the evening light began to dim, Sarah grasped Jessica's hand firmly, anchoring them both in shared resolve. Whatever challenges we encounter, we'll face them directly. We'll have to commit to checking in with each other frequently to ensure we're never spiraling into that same space of fear. This is our journey together. Laughter bubbled between them, and Sarah felt the tension subside, but shadows of uncertainty lingered in the air like a threat of an approaching storm. It was in this space of lightness that her heart fluttered with hidden questions of whether they could withstand both the exhilaration of success and the weight of potential failure. Would Jessica stand firm in her commitment to embrace the art world, and would Sarah navigate her adaptability in a way that wouldn't betray her own vulnerabilities? The imminent quest for honesty, courage, and growth had indeed just begun, and as an uneasy silence danced around them, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they were merely skimming the surface of deeper secrets hidden beneath the waves of their shared aspirations. Next steps, then. Jessica's unsteady voice crashed into the silence, pulling Sarah from her thoughts. Sarah met her gaze, feeling adrenaline surging through her veins with excitement and dread. They both knew, soon they would have to expose their truths further than a mere conversation had allowed. But would they find empowerment in the pursuit, or would they unearth something more dangerous and disruptive to their futures? And with that unanswered question echoing in the recesses of their minds, the pact had been forged. But the real test awaited them: would they muster the courage to face the truths they had yet to unearth? As dawn unfurled its golden rays, Sarah felt an electric pulse igniting her day. Their pact shimmered in her mind, transforming a casual promise into a beacon guiding her forward. Yet beneath the excitement lay a gnawing sense of doubt. She had never truly committed to anything that required this level of vulnerability. Was she ready to peel back the layers of her own fears? With a resolve swelling within her, Sarah reached for her notebook. It had been a safe space for her thoughts, her musings, sketches, and, recently, the plans brewing with Jessica. She flipped to a fresh page, tentatively writing down goals that felt simultaneously exhilarating and daunting. Explore art, she scribbled. Confront obstacles. Above all, she wanted to understand her adaptability not just as a skill but as a necessary foundation for her personal growth. After a brief morning ritual, Sarah met Jessica at their favorite cafe, a small nook bustling with creativity. The familiar sense of coffee and freshly baked goods filled the air, wrapping them in a comforting embrace. But while her surroundings were warm, Sarah's focus sharpened on the task ahead. Together, they had to build something authentic, something that resonated beyond their insecurities. Have you thought about your first step? Sarah asked, studying Jessica's expression as they settled at their table. Motivations tangled in Jessica's eyes, a blend of excitement and trepidation swirling in the depths. I thought I'd join that local art class, Jessica replied, her voice quivering slightly. But what if I'm not good enough? What if the instructor thinks my work is mediocre? The tension in the air was palpable, echoing Jessica's apprehensions. Sarah braced herself, recalling their late-night confessions. They had agreed to shed fears, yet here they were, caught in the vice grip of self-doubt. Starting is the hardest part. Did you forget what we discussed last night? That fear can be a motivator. Your art doesn't need to be perfect. It just has to be an expression of you. Just think of it as practice, Sarah encouraged, a rush of determination fueling her words. Jessica nodded slowly, but uncertainty lingered like residue on the tongue. You make it sound so easy. How do we break through this wall? By taking the first step, Sarah replied, willing her resolve to shine through. We'll each start with one bold move this week and check in afterward. I can finally introduce my ideas at work. I need to show I can innovate, not just adapt. And you can join that class. A flicker of excitement crossed Jessica's face, and then dimmed with a new wave of doubt. What if I take that step and I still feel unprepared? With a firm grip on her coffee cup, Sarah remembered her own struggles, the moments of hesitation that peppered her journey. What if it's not about being fully prepared? What if the act of trying invites the clarity you need? Jessica leaned into the table, pensively tracing the rim of her cup. Maybe you're right, she conceded, a reluctant smile breaking through. What does it say about us if we don't at least try? The morning sun bathed them in light as Sarah caught hold of her burgeoning confidence. Let us redefine failure together. Every step we take, no matter how shaky, is a step forward. Even discomfort signals growth. Their conversation flowed easily from that point, a concoction of plans, fears, and dreams far too fragile yet infinitely potent. But as Sarah dove deeper into their discussion, a troubling thought gripped her: what if their best intentions faltered against real-world pressures? The daily grind had a way of devouring creative impulses like a ravenous beast. Would she uphold her commitment amidst the relentless demands of work? The shadows of doubt loomed again, darkening the light they had momentarily embraced. No matter the excitement swirling around their unfolding journey, the weight of expectation and accountability brought a chill. With a determined glare in her gaze, Sarah offered an anchor for both of them. Remember, we are supporting each other through this. It's not just about finding success, it's about the journey. We got this, together. And if we don't? Jessica asked softly, a hint of fear breaking through her bold mask. That's exactly why we check in. We confront together, Sarah replied, her voice steady yet fluid with compassion. At that moment, they made a tangible pact, one intertwined with accountability. Yet, Sarah felt a gnawing conviction: even with that support, the real challenge lay ahead. They were both stepping into the unknown, confronting fears and aspirations that were more delicate than they dared reveal. As they left the cafe, hearts alight with budding possibilities, Sarah pondered what revelations awaited them in their quest for vulnerability and authenticity. Would they emerge as the artists they aspired to be, or would the weight of their growing ambitions crush the fragile spark of their burgeoning pursuits? In the crossroads of courage and doubt, she felt a stirring question arise: what happens in the moment when the thrill of their pact meets the harsh reality of their aspirations? The real test was yet to come, and she could feel the tension building, just outside the horizon. The morning sun had disappeared behind a veil of steel-gray clouds as Sarah arrived at her office, a familiar weight settling on her shoulders. The atmosphere was thick with the hum of industry emails pinging, phones ringing, and colleagues buzzing with their own agendas. Yet in the midst of this chaos, Sarah felt a surge of clarity wash over her. Today was not just another day, today was the day she would present her innovative ideas to her team. It was a leap into the fray, a chance to unravel the constraints that bound her. Walking through the office, she caught the glances of a few peers, those barely their smiles masked by the unspoken competitive tension that filled the air. Their eyes appeared to gauge her every move, air thickening with unrecognized judgment. Doubt whispered in the corners of her mind, but she silenced it with a determined grin. She was not just here to exist in the background anymore, she was about to assert herself. Settling at her desk, Sarah pulled out her carefully organized notes, the result of countless late nights filled with brainstorming and drafting. But even as she prepared, her palms felt clammy. What if they dismissed her ideas? What if they laughed? The specter of rejection loomed large, yet she dismissed it, harnessing her apprehension as fuel. With each passing minute clocking closer to her meeting, Sarah replayed her outline in her mind. The innovation strategies weren't flashy, but they were rooted in solid research, something she believed could enhance their project's efficiency tenfold. By addressing the team's existing challenges, she aimed to position herself not only as an innovator but as an integral contributor to the overarching goals of the company. Finally, as her colleagues shuffled into the conference room, Sarah felt an exhilarating mix of anticipation and terror. She took a deep breath and stood, willing her voice to tremble less than it did. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're ready for some new ideas that might change the way we approach our projects. She could feel the weight of their attention, and it felt grounding. As she unveiled her concepts, she glanced at her team. Some were enthusiastic, others skeptical. When feedback began to swirl around the room, Sarah dug deep into her reserves, fighting against the dread that crept back into her thoughts. Personal investment transformed critique into potential for growth, but she could still hear her inner critic chime in: what if this doesn't resonate? What if you're wrong? However, she noticed something surprising: enthusiasm blooming in the responses. Questions turned to discussions, and moments of silence shifted as her colleagues dissected and molded ideas together. With each prompt, Sarah felt her confidence rise, emerging from the cocoon of self-doubt one piece at a time. She contributed more actively, feeling a sisterhood in the debate, each voice adding substance to the discourse, enriching her own perspective. Then, through the ebb and flow of conversation, she spotted Jessica standing at her door, peering in with a worried expression. The corners of her lips tightened as if she were unsure about interrupting or intruding. In that instant, Sarah felt an unexpected pulse of energy. Jessica would see her willingness to risk vulnerability, transforming her from a mere friend into a burgeoning professional. Her heart raced at the possibility of them both taking the leap together. After the meeting concluded, as praises mingled with constructive criticisms echoing in her ears, Sarah found herself elevated not just by the praise but by a realization that vulnerability had morphed into a source of strength. She had faced the fear that lurked within, and it had lost its grip. Moreover, she simply had to engage with the vulnerability, lean into it, and confront whatever emerged. Walking toward Jessica, they exchanged a quick, knowing glance, each seeing the other's hunger for growth. "I saw you in there," Jessica said, admiration sparking in her tone. "You were incredible." "Seriously?" Sarah hesitated, her mind flickering back to their pact, the mutual push towards ambition. "It felt good," she responded after a brief pause, allowing vulnerability to weave itself into their conversation. But a part of her mind remained restless. If stepping into one's power felt like this, what lay on the other side of their journey ahead? The layers of this profound personal transformation had only begun to surface. With equal parts excitement and trepidation, she wondered, how would they navigate the more significant revelations poised to challenge their understanding of art, friendship, and self? The fog of uncertainty still cloaked their path ahead, promising conflict, discovery, and the arduous journey toward authenticity. Sarah felt the sense of ambition that came with vulnerability entwining with a familiar fear, hinting at an unresolved inner conflict patiently waiting for its moment to strike. As they walked out together, a new question emerged, crackling in the air: would their evolving roles as courageous creators bolster their bond or unravel the threads that tied their friendship? The stakes hadn't been higher, and the journey was only just beginning. Back in the dim-lit corners of her thoughts, Sarah Matthews had undergone a significant transformation. No longer the passive observer, she had risen as an unapologetic participant in her own life. The day after revealing her innovative ideas to her colleagues marked a turning point, an affirmation of her newfound identity forged through vulnerability and honesty. The sun bathed the world outside in a golden glow, but inside her office, Sarah felt an electric buzz of clarity illuminating her path forward. The response from her teammates had been overwhelmingly positive. She received validation not just for her ideas but also for her daring honesty. In navigating the treacherous waters of self-doubt, Sarah discovered her worth. She had proven her competence and left the shadows behind. Inspired by her commitment to vulnerability, she organized a follow-up discussion with her team, creating a space where everyone could share their ideas without fear of judgment. It was exhilarating. In that meeting, Sarah felt the air thick with excitement. Questions were posed, ideas bounced around like tennis balls, and each contribution added threads to the fabric of their collaborative journey. She could scarcely believe how far she had come since the charity gala, where insecurities had gnawed at her confidence. Now, she inhabited the space with a poise that radiated to others. Colleagues approached her with enthusiasm, eager for her insights and ideas. Sarah's voice became sought after, a testament to her established position within the team. Parallel to her professional ascent, a profound shift unfolded in her friendship with Jessica. Their pact had catalyzed an exchange of raw, honest discussions that delved deeper into their aspirations and fears. One afternoon, Jessica invited Sarah to an art exhibit they had both anticipated for months, an event featuring local artists, a door into a world Jessica had longed to reclaim. As they wandered through the gallery, Sarah admired the vibrant pieces, each one a reflection of the artist's soul. "This is beautiful," Sarah remarked, taking in a striking painting. You should showcase your work here one day. The conversation sparked an ember in Jessica's heart. I actually signed up for that art class, she exclaimed, her eyes twinkling with excitement. I was inspired by you and the truths we've uncovered together. In that moment, Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of pride, a blend of joy and validation. Jessica's willingness to embrace her passions mirrored the journey Sarah had embarked upon. They stood in a gallery not just as friends, but as champions of each other's growth, each stepping into the light of their true selves. Later, as they discussed their favorite pieces over coffee, Jessica turned to Sarah. You know, I wasn't sure about everything we talked about. It was intimidating to face myself. But the fear of remaining stagnant finally outweighed the fear of failing. Sarah nodded, feeling a shared triumph. We've learned that fear is not a barrier but a catalyst for transformation. By stepping into discomfort, we've created a space for possibility. Their conversations flourished, transcending the superficial veils they had worn for so long. They each learned to harness their fears into sources of strength, redefining their identities in tandem. Sarah began to see herself not just as the adaptable employee but as a thought leader, while Jessica emerged as an artist ready to reclaim her voice. Months later, with every passing day, Sarah had built a reputation not only for her innovative contributions but also for fostering an environment where colleagues felt appreciated and encouraged to pursue their authentic selves. The office culture shifted toward collaboration and empathy, and Sarah was proud to be at the helm. As they celebrated the art showcase featuring Jessica's work, Sarah's heart swelled with emotion. Here she stood, witnessing her friends' dreams take flight while finding fulfillment in her own journey. It was a moment of convergence, personal and professional triumphs intertwined seamlessly, allowing them to reflect on how far they'd come. In the end, Sarah achieved not just professional recognition within her firm, but a deeper understanding of her value and acknowledgement of her competencies. Moreover, her friendship with Jessica emerged stronger, rooted in authenticity and mutual support. They had both learned that true growth originates not from suppressing fears or embracing facades but from the courage to face the truths lurking in the shadows. Sarah was ready for whatever came next. Her confidence solidified, she realized that stepping into her power meant navigating new challenges while holding true to her commitments and aspirations. The work ahead promised to be dynamic and filled with rich exploration, but Sarah welcomed it all. This was the moment she had transformed into an accomplished, self-assured woman who approached each new chapter with excitement for the possibilities that lay ahead. She had learned not just to adapt but to thrive. Now, dear friends, it's your turn. If you're feeling inspired by Sarah's journey of overcoming obstacles and discovering true self-worth, you need to subscribe now to catch more transformative stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and thoughts and let us know which part spoke to you the most. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support is crucial for continuing these powerful narratives. Thank you for being a part of this journey.